What is going on, Roland Empire? Here, guys, to give you a video. Just want to do a little bit of a little talk, a little review, and I looked back and I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I ever talked about this. And I was like, well, I want to get to the show, and I probably will, but for right now, to give an idea, I'll talk about El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. It came out when it came out. Okay, so when the advertisements came out, I was like, okay, as a fan, I was like, cool, I want this. Who does not want a Breaking Bad movie? At least those that are fans. I felt like this was an extra gift, and like, yeah, after leading off the way it did, I'm like, okay, you can kind of have some window for a movie, and still the possibilities and the intriguement. I'm just like, I'm on board. So, but then after that, you're like thinking like, yeah, like, will this work? Is it forced? And it is kind of a couple years later, and it's interesting to know that it supposedly picks up where it picks up. But I'll give this a shot. It's on Netflix. Okay, Netflix is fine, and you know, it looks promising. And Gilligan's doing the direction. And I was like, okay, I want to see how Gilligan does full length film. You know, that's how I feel like sometimes some creators I wish had the opportunity to direct their own stuff if they had a movie version of it. But then you start getting questions as in, but can they do anything outside of their property? But still, that's eventual. That's eventual if it happens. But for right now, directing your own property, you're familiar with how it works, and you know, I want to see how the full big screen adaptation can work. So, and yeah, and I'll start off with saying it like this: is like, it is a movie that you have to see the show, obviously, but also it's a competent good movie, but it's favorable more if you're a fan of it, if you're somehow have an allegiance to it. Obviously, if you understand, you can go in maybe and still enjoy it as its own film, but it is more niche. It really is for the niche audience. It's not a bad movie. It really still is good. You have enough to understand of like the sympathies and the character arcs, and you realize who's your villain, who's your hero. All of it's there, but you get more of a kick if you see the show, and it's obvious. It's like if like you went to go see, I don't know, the sequel trilogy. You had to had some sense of the original and the prequel, and to enjoy the sequel at the very least. So with this, you have to see um, the Breaking Bad show to kind of get the sense of why you're investing with Jesse Pinkman and all. And in this, it does follow up after he's on the run, sort of. He escapes and he has like in a sort of way a good ending to the show. But then also like, wait, but what if he's also still on the run? And that sucks. Even though you were kind of like, and this might be spoilers, guys. It's as spoilers as it can get to. I can talk about the show and the movie, so yeah. And you were held captive, you were being forced against your will, and you escaped, you did nothing wrong. But in a world of how realistic it can be, you still have these expectations. Like, you have to own up to what you've done, or at least we need to hear your side. It's not as clean as it can be. So I do like that there's that kind of theme of like, you have to suffer like the consequences, even though we know he's a good guy. He's a good guy in a sense, but there has been a lot done with what he has. So Aaron Paul, Jesse Pinkman, this is his role. This is how he shines, and he kind of picks up like where he left off. And you can tell, like a lot of the actors, you can tell they have aged a bit, but at least with him, they try his best, and that's the guy we focus the most. And it carries, and there is like it shows a bit of the background flashback and then the current time where he's at now. So I do find a nice kick that we still get more of what could be offered for the show, but then still see why we should care post the show. There's that kind of balancing act. You could say it's a bit of a slow burn. Like, it's kind of like this in the show, but it shows more in the movie. But at least for the way I enjoyed it, I know what I was getting myself into, and I liked it. And I spoke with people that did see the show, and they're like, "Yeah, this really feels like it is more for the fans, kind of thing." So it all depends. There could be that person that like, "No, I still had a good time. It really was a nice little film, like seriously." But for a lot, it could be more. It's not a surprise that if you have the allegiance for the show, like I keep saying, then you have a good time with the actual movie. But I cared when Aaron Paul goes with his friends, and it still shows that bond, and it's just there's that weight of like, yes, this is kind of the investment I've cared for and all, and there is that kind of loyalty, the loyalty with this, and it kind of just feels sort of symbolic, like you watching the film and all. So like that, and Aaron Paul tries to make amends with his family too, and And it's just there's enough to be like, well, you sticked around for Jesse. Let's try to give him some kind of his wrap up of his arc. So it really is in a way where like even though he had a clean state, this is more of his season finale, his season series sort of finale, however you see it, season. And it's nice to know that we get, you know, little kind of little Easter eggs still sprinkled in for him. So that is also for you as an audience something that's supposed to be, you know, still an emotional payoff, definitely an emotional payoff, and it still has a nice look. It does feel like an extended episode, but it's for the better. Like that's why if you know what you were getting yourself into, then you really have a good, you know, good time with the film. In terms of ratings, how I would have to do it as a Breaking Bad film, it really is like it is kind of like an A minus as a film overall competent story. It's more like a B plus B kind of thing. So let me know, guys, if you guys had a good time with El Camino. What did you guys like of the whole like Breaking Bad? What's your favorite aspect of the Breaking Bad film and all that? And if you didn't like the movie, you know why didn't? But if you did like, let me know your opinions. Again, guys, thoughts and opinions. These are all my thoughts and opinions. So let me know in the comments below. And as always, roll an empire. Laugh, smile, repeat.